Hey, what's up, worship leaders? Before we go anywhere further into the podcast, I got two awesome resources that are available just for you. But I got a question. Who is leading you while you're leading everyone else? I don't mean your pastor, but a resource who is in your corner. Become today a worship team training member here on Substack to receive leadership, transformational access, and resources that really work to help you grow and sustain as a worship leader for the long term. Go on Google or your app store and search for Substack, and then search for Worship Team Training and become a member today. And did you know that we provide one-to-one mentoring? That's right. The Worship Team Training Mentoring gives you one-to-one coaching built around real ministry challenges as we walk through my book, Unlocking Worship Leadership. In this weekly 1-hour virtual session, we'll walk through leadership, team building, dynamics, communication, and ministry growth together. So stop leading alone and start leading stronger. Visit today, worshipteamtraining.com/mentoring. Now, let's move on with the podcast. Hope you enjoy. Welcome back again to the Worship Team Training Podcast. I'm Brandon Dempsey. This is our Green Room edition, in which we take podcasts that work for you as you're on the go, doing what you do throughout the worship week. And we're so glad that you joined us today. You're not defined by the platform. That's what we're talking about. And as we venture into later this week, we're also kicking off our Worship Leader Cohort that begins this April 24th, Friday. And if you haven't seen it yet, be sure to check out the link in the show notes or wherever that you're listening from. Click the link below and check it out. We'd love to have you join us. There's something that a lot of worship leaders rarely talk about. And it's not picking the songs. It's not transitions and cues and technology and gear, because we see that all the time. It's not even so much about burnout as much as it is about calling. And calling is something that is very close to every worship leader's heart. It's a very sensitive thing to talk about. And I will tell you that not a lot of leaders in ministry in general have really been mentored in their calling. A lot of them have been maybe prayed for, and loved ones and key people in their lives have kind of shepherded them on the way. But when it comes to mentoring and training for a worship leader, there are things that worship leaders encounter that just happen, as you would say, on the job, which doesn't really prepare you for a lot. And so it's one thing to have people kind of usher you into ministry, but there's something different when you either have or you do not have somebody who can walk alongside you. Now, this is what I aim for in these podcasts, because I trust that you're getting all kinds of resources and information as well to help in your nurturing of a worship leader. And I'm just delighted that you share these few moments with me that I can speak into you. And I hope that today is helpful. So as we talk about the role of worship leading, it starts out very simple, right? Many of us are just handed a guitar, a piano, microphone, and we're expected to lead worship one weekend because the pastor found out that we actually do this. We actually play music. And then this evolves into leading a ministry, which when you're thrown into that role, there's not a lot of true discipleship that goes on in that area. You're expected to pick out the songs. You're expected to lead a team of personalities that you really don't have a good handle on. You're having to keep up on if it's trends, if there are things that work in the church, do not work in the church. And then you are surrounded by people in the church that will tell you what they like and what they don't like. So you add all these different layers. And this is where a lot of leaders, after a long time, where they feel like maybe they just don't have what it takes. Maybe they just don't have it all together. Maybe their identity of what they thought worship leading was has now turned into something else, and they drifted maybe from their true identity and not, let me put it this way, they know that they're a child of God, but seeing themselves as a true daughter or son of the King and having that purpose behind it gets real cloudy. And it becomes more about no longer presence, but product and produce on what we produce on the platform. And I don't mean to say it that way because I'm not a big fan of the platform and production and excellence. I know that we do it and we have it, but let me just make this very clear. It's your presence. It's being present in worship. It's not what you produce. It's not the product. Okay, so I'm just getting that out straight out the gate. The deal is, many of us, as we go through this journey of being a worship leader, it is very lonely. And I just want to encourage you today that Acts 20:28 speaks directly into this. Paul tells leaders to take care of yourselves and all of the flock. The order of taking care and flock goes in that order. There is a call to personal care. There is a call to spiritual attentiveness, if you will. And before that responsibility comes into play of leading others, you have to be led yourself. And this is where a lot of worship leaders will stop and become frozen, and growth does not happen, and burnout starts to occur because many worship leaders live ministry in reverse. What do I mean by that? They're always chasing the end of the week. They're chasing the 1 hour event each and every cycle, where it becomes I need to top what we did last week, or it needs to be better. And that's great that we can aspire to be great and to be excellent in what we do, absolutely. But when we leave out the growth and it only becomes the goal, we're missing a lot along the way. And that's what the danger is in this tension. So we can be incredibly skillful at what we do, but we can also be spiritually dry in how we do it. So leading a moment to move others in worship, you can still be disconnected. I made this post last week saying that we can do all the right things and make a big moment for God, but yet we miss worship. And this is where leaders run empty. And I know for me, when I began leading worship, I didn't have a language for that. I just kept going and going and going, week after week, and not really receiving God pouring into me, because it was more about the task. And when we find ourselves in that situation over time, it becomes clear to us that we need more than just leading songs. And you may look to your pastor for that nurturing of discipleship, but then you may find that you're not really getting it. You may look to a friend or somebody outside of your church, but yet they don't have a lot of the time to give to you. And this is where worship leaders become very lonely, and they start asking other leaders, well, hey, does this happen to you too? And you find that leaders may agree with you, but other leaders are just quiet because they're carrying the same thing you are. And this is why I say that you're not alone. We've built strong systems of developing musical excellence and production quality and team management, but we've largely overlooked the need for spiritual formation when it becomes specific to worship leaders. And we haven't consistently created environments where identity is rooted beyond the platform, or where sustainable rhythms of life and leadership are cultivated. The result is often burnout. This is where we experience the plateau effect, the isolation. And it's not because we lack passion. It's not because worship leaders lack drive. Maybe they do, but it's really a lack of intentional formation. Romans 12:2 calls us not to be conformed to the patterns of this world, but to be transformed by the renewing of our minds. That kind of transformation doesn't happen accidentally. It requires intentionality. It requires community. It requires a space where growth is not assumed, but pursued. This is where it's so pertinent, worship leaders, that you take care of your heart, that you nurture your soul, have God speak into you. But maybe you're in a spiritual desert. Maybe you're in a place where I'm not hearing from God like I used to. Or if this wasn't occurring in my life, I can hear him more clearly. And this is where we find ourselves in that danger. So I just ask you the question, what if you didn't have to navigate all this alone? And what if there was a space that was designed not for you to perform, but to actually grow? And a space where you can be discipled and not just deployed, where you are known, but not just needed, and where your formation matters just as much as your function. So if we have that space and waiting for us and that intentionality and that calling to grow, this is where God wants us. And how do you do that? We can say by spending time with the Word, and yes, that's true, we can pray, but maybe you're just tired. This is the very reason why I'm putting together this Worship Leader Cohort, because it is so important that we find a place to grow together, to have personal mentorship, to be identified by our spirits, and to allow other people and their experience to speak into you, and to gain that direction, to gain that supportive community. And as we go through this, I have a book that I'm leading through it. It's called Unlocking Your Worship Leadership, and it's based upon 6 principles that we can learn together over the 6 weeks, which is a 1 hour or 1.5 hour weekly session. And through that, you access the cohort member community. You also get devotionals by me, practical ministry downloads, the ebook, and then also there's a completion certificate, if you will, at the very end. Now, not many people would want that, but those of you may, because a lot of you are box checkers, and that's great. But I'm offering this time to you to sign up. You can go to worshipteamtraining.com on our front page, and it's right there, the Worship Leader Cohort. You can sign up at the link there. Or if you're already on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, and even X, you'll find a link to our cohort there as well. But join us, because this is the time that we can all break away, come together, and to be encouraged. And no longer do we have to walk this journey alone. So with that being said, let's open up the green room doors. Let's go back out to the places where God's called us. And I'm praying with you, walking with you. If you have questions about the cohort or ministry development, mentoring, or even workshops, you can DM me through any of our socials. You can find Worship Team Training, Brandon Dempsey. I thank you guys for being here. Remember, it's not about being perfect, but about the Lord Jesus leading you both in life and in worship. See you next time soon. Bye. Hey guys, thanks again for listening to this podcast and downloading this episode. I want to invite you to get our free Worship Team Training devotional. These are the writings I put out on Bible.com, YouVersion, and we've had thousands upon thousands of both English and Spanish that listen, they download them. So we invite you to do the same. Just head on over to worshipteamtraining.com/enews, or find the newsletter link on the top right corner of the website, worshipteamtraining.com. Thanks so much, and see you on the next episode.